lamina, and the other the other involving um, the lamina on VP. So these are the two problems which are left. We'll finish off today. So we can start with the circular lamina and then go on to the problem where the lamina is resting on VP. So we'll take up one case. Of course, that is not very common. 95% of the problems are the lamina resting on HP. You get only 5% lamina resting on VP, and it is not very common. So no need to focus much on that. But anyway, you should know how it is to be solved. So we'll do that. So let us take the problem of the circular lamina. Fine. The statement goes like this. Draw the projections of a circular lamina draw the projections of a circular lamina. So basically a circle of negligible thickness. Negligible thickness. Now this negligible thickness means unit thickness basically. Okay. Very basic, very minimum thickness. Thickness having 50 millimeter diameter. 50 diameter resting on a point A resting on a point A on the circumference. Now, since we are dealing with a circle, the circumference is the outer boundary. The circumference with its plane inclined at 45 degrees to HP. With its plane inclined at 45 degrees to HP. And the top of the diameter and the top view of the diameter passing through the resting point makes 60 degrees with VP. Passing through the resting point makes 60 degrees with VP. So this is the statement. So you have a lamina of 50 dia resting on a point A on the circumference. So basically it is resting on a point. So you know that whenever there is a circle or a circular lamina and it is made to incline to HP, then the contact with HP or whatever the plane under consideration would be a point contact. Okay, because there won't be any edges for the circle. Circle is perfectly a round entity. It doesn't have edges. So whenever you try to contact it with a plane surface, the point of contact will be a point. That is why it is mentioned that point A on the circumference. It is resting at a point on a point A on the circumference because the point of contact will be a small point. It won't be a line or a surface or anything. With its plane inclined at 45 degrees to HP, means the lamina is inclined at 45 degrees to HP, and the top view of the diameter passing through the resting point makes 60 degrees with VP. Okay, so this would be the third step where the top view of the diameter is inclined at 60 degrees. The one thing is very clear, theta is 45 degrees because it's an inclination and it's a true inclination to HP, whereas 60 degrees, this is an inclination to VP. So what is it? Is it phi or is it beta?
Phi.
Phi? Sure? Please
No, sir.
understand.
Beta, beta.
Yeah, beta. Because see, the top view of the diameter is inclined at 60 degrees. The diameter is not inclined. Had the diameter been inclined, then yes, it is phi. But the top view of the diameter is inclined. So we know that the top view of the diameter means it's an apparent length. So apparent length is inclined means this is an apparent inclination. So we are dealing with beta here. Okay. Then I think we'll just roughly draw the 3D view. Then the things would be very clear. So in the 3D view is how it would look like. Of course, here there is no question of resting on edge or anything. It has to rest on corner only. So this is the circular lamina we are talking about on HP. So it is lying on HP, and its front view will be a line whose length is equal to the diameter. Okay, so whatever is the diameter of the circle would be the length of the front view. And in the top view, will get a circle. This is the step one. Second step, you have to incline uh, this circular lamina to HP by an angle of 45 degrees. So when you do that, this is how it would be by 45 degrees. When you do that, a point will be on the circumference. So it would be somewhat like this. Yeah. Just define it. Okay. So now when this happens, then the point contact here would be here. So this is what we call as the circumference of the point. That means in the first step, you should mark the points like this. You have to basically divide the circle into number of equal parts. I'll tell you the reason why. See, if I draw lines at 45 degrees from the center of the circle at 45 degrees, then I'll be dividing this into 8 equal parts or 12 equal parts or 16 equal parts if I go on reducing the angle. So minimum I have to divide into 8 equal parts. Now why I'm doing this? See, when I do this, I'll be getting 8 corners or 8. Yeah, it lost the connection. No, it's fine. Okay. So what I'm saying is the reason to divide this circle into equal parts. The reason is simple. Since the circle doesn't have any defined corners like you have in the case of square, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon. They have got 4 corners, 5 corners, 6 corners. This entity doesn't have any corners. And till you don't have corners or points, then what are you going to project? You cannot project anything. That is why, since the circle doesn't have physical corners, these artificial corners or points are created. Why? To help in projecting in the front view as well as top. So minimum you have to divide this circle into 8 equal parts. You can divide into 12, you can divide into 16 also, but what will happen is as the number of corners increase, the more time you are going to take for drawing the projections. Because 16 points or 12 points means 12 projections in the front and top view. That takes a lot of time. So minimum 8 has to be drawn. So that is why I divided into 8. And these are the artificial corners of the circle A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. Now when I incline about HP, the corner A or the point A on the circumference is in contact or on HP. Okay. And that means this in the front view A dash would be on XY line. And this opposite corner, which is that E, yeah, E would be above HP and of course followed by the other corners. C. So B, C, D, E, F, G and H. And this angle is your theta angle 45 degrees. So the topmost corner would be E dash. Okay. And when this happens, if you project it down, all these corners, if you project down like this, because it is difficult to draw, anyway, I'll try. Then you may get this odd shape. I think an ellipse kind of a shape, basically, in the top. This would be the shape you will get. So in the top view, you are getting an odd shape. It won't be a circle. It will be a sort of an ellipse. Okay, it will be, as you know, that the diameter is going to shrink. Now my question is, see, there are so many diameters. I am interested in only 2 diameters. AE is one and GC is another. You see this, AE and GC. AE and GC. In the second step, which of these 2 diameters is parallel to HP? AE and GC.
AE.
AE is parallel to HP. See here, A dash E dash is the front view of AE. It is inclined. How about GC? See, GC is like a line. If you see the diameter, it is like a line which is exactly parallel to HP. So while I think when we draw the 2D view, it will be clear. What you will find is this diameter AE in the top view will reduce in length, whereas the diameter GC will not reduce in length. It will remain same. That is why you will get an ellipse, because you know the property of ellipse. One diameter is longer, the other diameter is shorter. So that means one of the diameters should reduce. Okay. So we'll see which one reduces. Okay, but the point is, in the second step top view, you won't get a circle, you will get an ellipse shape because of the inclination. Fine. Okay. Third step, as usual, we have the diameter, that is this AE. So the diameter passing through the resting point is AE. So we are talking about AE. This is inclined to VP. In the third step, the diameter is inclined to the vertical plane. So it would be somewhat like this. If you take this to be 60 degrees beta angle, the diameter should be on the beta angle. So roughly you may get it like this. So this is A, this is E, and these are the other coordinates: B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, but at the same time, please remember that this angle theta is still there, it doesn't vanish. And in the front view, if you see, you will get an ellipse shape, but it would be inclined either left or to the right. The final front. That we'll get to know when you start projecting it. And in this also, the topmost point would be E dash, and the one on XY line would be A dash. This would be your diameter. This we'll get to know when we solve it in 2D. Okay. But just like any other plane, this is how the circular lamina is resting on HP, and how you have to divide it into equal parts, and then how you have to incline to HP, and what should rest on HP when it is inclined. Other things remain the same. So without delay, let us start with the 2D solution. So XY line, so in the top view, you have to first draw a circle of 50 mm dia. That means you have to measure 25 mm as the radius. So radius should be 25, then diameter would be 50. So I'll start with the top view. This is a circle of 25 mm dia, 25 mm radius and 50 mm dia. This is the center of the circle. So now you can divide this into 8 equal parts. So first you can draw a horizontal line for the diameter AE, perfectly horizontal, passing through the center. And then at 45 degrees, you can start drawing the other lines. So keep your the protractor here on the center and parallel the horizontal line. Then at 45 degrees, at 90 degrees, at 135 degrees, you can mark the points. Then you can join, for example, I'll be joining the center and this point. I'll be drawing a line like this. I'll be joining the topmost 90 degrees and the center, and I'll be joining it like this. I'll be joining the line at 45 degrees and the center. So this is how I can divide the circle into 8 equal parts, the lines at 45 degrees. Now we can name them starting with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Now you have to draw one, two, three, five vertical projectors to get the front view. Starting with A, then B and H, then G and C, then D and F, then E, mark the points and name them. So this would be A dash, this would be E dash, this would be B dash, H dash, C dash, G dash, D dash, F dash. If you join all these points, you will get the front view of the circle, and we know the length of the front view is equal to the diameter, which is 50 mm. So this is step number 1. Second step, incline this 50 mm line at 45 degrees. So your regular step, so leave some gap, mark the point A dash, because as you have seen, when you are inclining, the point A is on HP, so A dash would be on XY line in the front. 45 degrees. So incline the 50 mm line at 45 degrees. So the 50 mm line is inclined at 45 degrees. The topmost point is E dash. Okay. Now these 3 points B, D, C, G, and D, F, you have to locate it on that line. So you can either use the rounder or you can measure these lengths. You know, around 8 mm B dash D dash, and this is exactly at 25 mm, and this is at I think 42 or 41 mm. 8 mm, then 2.25 mm, then 41, roughly 42. So these 3 points you have to mark: B dash, H dash, C dash, G dash, D dash, F dash. Either use a rounder or use a scale. But see that you locate these 3 points. These 6 points, sorry. Now draw 5 vertical projectors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 vertical projectors onto the top view in the second step, and the same 5 horizontal projectors from the top view in the first step. They will intersect and give you the second step top view. So you have to be careful when you are drawing this. So 1, 2, goes 3, 4, and 5. So 5 horizontal projectors, 5 vertical projectors. They are going to intersect and give you the second step top view. So this is how it looks like. So there are many intersection points. You have to locate 8 intersection points correctly. Starting with A. So you can see A dash and A. This is A. B dash and B. This is B. C dash and C. This is C. D dash and D. This is B. So we have the power back. Hopefully it will be stable now. Yeah. So so I have located these intersection points A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H as you have been doing. Okay, now if you see the shape, if you join these points, see now all these points you have to join not by straight lines but by times it has to come and yeah. Once again, yeah. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the shape of an ellipse. So I will use this center, the center of this ellipse, and then try to join, but I don't know. I won't get. So what I will have to do is I have to join all these points by curves. So please observe how I draw the curves. Here. No straight lines. Only curves have to be used. Getting this? So joining all these points by curved lines. Okay, and here. Okay. So are you getting the shape of an ellipse? So this is what I said. In the second step top view, you will get an apparent shape. It will no longer be a circle. It will be an ellipse. So now you tell me which diameter has reduced in length, AE or GC? Obviously it is AE because AE was 50 mm. Now you can say AE is less than 50 mm. So it clearly indicates that AE is inclined to HP, whereas this CG is, it was 50 mm, it is still 50 mm. So this indicates that CG is parallel to HP. Okay, so this is what I was trying to tell you also. So this you have the second step. So third step, the top view of the diameter makes 60 degrees with VP. So you can draw the 60-degree line like this. Mark a point anywhere here. Then draw the 60-degree line. Maybe like this. So this is the 60-degree line. The beta angle. So on this 60-degree line, you have to get the top view of the diameter. So the top view of the diameter is AE. So AE is the top view of the diameter under consideration. So AE should be put on the 60-degree line. Okay. So now, can you do that? Is this a locus problem or not? You're getting my question? Can I place this AE, the second step top view AE, on this 60-degree line? Or should I use the locus method?
So we can use the apparent length of AE.
Yeah. So should we use locus or no?
No, sir.
Yes, correct. See, this AE, this is the true length of the diameter. Okay. This AE is the apparent length of the diameter. So apparent length, it is less. So this is an apparent length. It can be kept on an apparent inclination. So this is not a locus problem. But had this angle been a true inclination, then yes, this problem would be locus because you cannot keep an apparent length on a true inclination. Okay. So here no problem. Straightforward. You can keep AE, the apparent length, on the 60-degree line. So we are going to redraw like this. So roughly I'll just show you how it is going to look like. It would be like this. Rough. So this would be E, this would be A, this would be C, this would be G. This would be the shape. Okay. Now we have to draw it correctly to the absolute scale. So I'll start with the point E because that is important. Mark some distance below XY line and you can mark the point E. Then measure this distance with the scale or rounder, whatever, around 35 mm. You can locate A. So 35 mm away, you can locate the point A. So maybe it is somewhere here. So you have AE done. Then you can locate the other points also by using the rounder, or else there are other methods also. For example, if you locate the center of AE, that is this point, this will be I think 17.5 or something. Yeah. So center of AE, if you locate 15, 16, 17.5. Yeah. And if you draw a line perpendicular to AE like this, Okay, then you can measure this distance also. G to the center, it is around 23 or 24 mm. So 23 and a half if you consider, then this is G, and 46 or 47, this would be C, this would be G. Okay, so I measured this distance 23 mm. I marked this 23 mm. This also will be same 23 mm. I'll mark it here. So I got G and C. Actually, it is not 23, it should be 25. Yeah, it should be 25 actually. There's some mismatch here. It would be here then. It should be 25 because GC is the diameter which remains in its true length. Na? So it cannot be less than 25. It has to be 25. So always there will be 1 mm difference here and there. Depends on the accuracy at which you draw. And then we are left with 4 more points: B, D, F, and H. You can use the rounder and locate them. For example, you want to locate B. You measure distance from A to B. Any 2 points you can take reference. Say A to B you can measure. So this is B, B to A. Measure, and you can make an arc here. From A, make an arc. And then you measure distance from C to B. Like this, C to B, and cut the arc. Cut the arc. So this point would be B. Okay. So like this you can go on locating the other points also. So I'll just roughly draw to save some time. Just roughly draw it. So B, and this would be C, this would be D, and this would be H. This would be F. This is how roughly it would look like. A, B, C, D, F, G, H. Now, this is your final top view. You have to project and get the final front view. So, 5 horizontal projectors from the second step front view, and 8 vertical projectors from the third step top view. So, 8 projectors from the top view, 5 projectors from the front view. So 8 5s are 40. You will have 40 intersection points. So you have to be very careful here because the number of intersection points are very high, and you have to locate only 8. Please be very careful when you are doing this. A point here or there will entirely change the shape of the final front view. So 5. So this is what we have been doing till now. What we do is we draw the horizontal projectors first because they are less in number. And then one by one, we draw the vertical projectors because they are more in number to avoid the complexity. Okay, so first I'll start with A. So A projection is still XY line only, I know that. Then B is above XY line, say till here. So this is B dash. C is almost in the center, so this is C dash. D, this would be D dash. E, the topmost point would be E dash. F, the next lower point would be F dash. G, this would be G dash, and last would be H dash. Sorry, here H dash. So you can see the shape. If you join all of them, now this also you have to join by curves, no straight lines. So please join it by smooth curves as far as possible. So this is how the curve can be. So very smooth curves have to be drawn, and you have to join these intersection points. Yes. And if you see, uh, if you want, you can just check it also. We had joined A dash and E dash. It was a line slightly inclined to the right in the 3D. And this is what you find here. Same shape you are going to get in 2D. Okay. So this is how the circular lamina problem has to be solved. Okay. Fine. So now with this we come to the last problem. That is the problem on the lamina resting on vertical plane. Yeah, I think we should do one problem. It may not be there in the syllabus, but at least you should have an idea of how it looks like when the lamina is not resting on HP, it is resting on VP. So just to give you an idea, okay, we'll just solve one problem and we'll close. And I think before that, I think, do you know your schedules for the upcoming semester and exam, your theory and lab exams which are pending? You have any idea?
No, sir.
Okay, I think today or latest by Monday, details will be put up. So what we are planning is 26th onwards, your exams would start, 26th of July. So I think you have two exams pending, CCP and graphics. So we'll start with that only on 26th and 27th. Then we'll get 1 day gap, 28th, and 29th onwards, your lab is going to start. Okay, and your study holidays, your preparatory holidays for the exams are going to start from 19th. So you will be having classes up to 17th. That is the next week. Okay, after that, from 19th onwards, no classes. You will be given time to prepare for the exams. Exams will be from 26th. First the theory papers, then 1 day gap, then the labs are going to start. I think the labs will probably end by August 5th, 4th or 5th. And then after that, after one or 2 days, your regular theory classes of second semester will continue. That is the plan as of now, and that is what VTU has told us to follow, because we received a circular, I think, day before yesterday evening. So accordingly, all timetables are being made. Once it is approved, we'll be putting it on the website. So this is a tentative plan. It all depends on how the situation is. The situation remains normal, all this is going to happen. Otherwise, we don't know. I think it should be okay now, since most of you are vaccinated, most of the staff are vaccinated. Shouldn't be a problem in conducting the exams. Okay. So anyway, please check the website. I think tomorrow you can check it, or today evening. You will find all the details. Okay. So last problem is, I think we can take a simple problem, that of a rectangular lamina, just so that you understand the concept. So this is the statement of the problem. A rectangular lamina of 35 rectangular lamina of negligible thickness, negligible thickness, and size of 35 by 20 mm, has one of its shorter edges in VP, as one of its shorter edges in VP, with that edge inclined at 40 degrees to HP. With that edge inclined at 40 degrees to HP. Draw the top view. Draw the top view if its front view is a square of 20 mm sides. Okay. So you have a rectangular lamina of negligible thickness. Rectangular lamina of negligible thickness and size of 35 by 20. So longer edge is 35, shorter edge is 20. It has one of its shorter edges in VP. So this is the change. Normally you used to get the statement as one of the shorter edges is on HP. Now it is in VP. With that edge inclined at 40 degrees to HP. Earlier you used to get that edge is inclined at 40 degrees to VP. That will be in the third step. Now the third step will be this, inclined to HP. The whole thing changes. We'll draw the top view. If its front view is a square, generally used to be given that the top view is a square, because when you incline to HP, the top view is going to change. Now here, when you incline to VP, the front view is going to change. So front view, you will be getting a square. Why? Because the lamina is on VP. That is a major change here. Okay, that is why this problem is generally taken up at the end. Otherwise, if it is taken up in the middle of our discussions on HP, it is very confusing, because the whole concept changes here. So I'll just show you how it looks like in 3 dimensions, then the things would be more or less clear. Use a sheet. So now the focus will be on the vertical plane. Now, it is very clearly given that the rectangular lamina is uh, having one of the shorter edges in VP. So we can safely assume that the rectangular lamina is on VP. So this is how the rectangular lamina can rest on VP. Please observe. Step 1. So this is the 20 mm side, this is the 35 mm side. This is the lamina. So the lamina is on VP. So in the front view, you will get a rectangle of 35 by 20. In the top view, when you draw the projections, you will be getting a line. It is the exact reverse of whatever you have been doing till now. So in the top view, it will be A into bracket B and D into bracket C. The length of the top view would be 35 mm, the length of the longer edge. And why you have inclined like this? Why I have not inclined like this? That is 20 by 35 is because in the second step you have to ensure that the shorter edge is on VP. So let us see what happens in the second step. Please observe. I am going to place the shorter edge AB on VP. Okay, and I am going to incline the rectangle so that in the front view you will get a square of 20 by 20. A, this is D, C. So this is how it would be. You can very well make out the inclination to what? What is this inclination to? HP or VP?
HP.
Yes. So this is 40 degrees. This is the inclination to the vertical plane. Yeah. See, even I got confused. This angle is not given. This is the angle phi. See, what is given to you is in the front view, you will see a square. Now you know to see a square in the front view or top view, you have to incline the rectangle by a particular inclination. I think you will be knowing the angle also, 55 degrees. That is what we had done. So now please observe, this is how it will look like in the top view. This will be A into bracket B. This would be D into bracket C. See this inclination. What does this mean? This means when you incline the lamina to the vertical plane by an angle phi, a particular angle, only then in the top view, sorry, in the front view, you will get a square of 20 by 20. I will show you how. I'll draw the front view. So front view of A, same. Front view of B, same. No change. Front view of C. This is the front view of C. Front view of D. This is the front view of D. If you join all these, what do you get? What is this shape? This is nothing but a 20 by 20 square. This is what is given in the problem statement, that in the front view you should get a square of 20 by 20. So this is going to happen only when you incline this at a particular angle, and that particular angle is 55 degrees. I think a similar problem we had solved, if you remember, wherein in the top view the square was the top view, it was a square of 20 mm. So by what angle, what is the theta angle at which we had inclined? 55 degrees. Same thing you have to do, but now the things have changed. In the front view, you are supposed to get a square, so you have to incline it to VP by 55 degrees. Got it? So this is the change. Third step, the shorter edge is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So yeah, here one thing I forgot to indicate is that AB is on VP. The shorter edge is on VP. That is what we wanted. And the longer edge is inclined to VP by some angle, because of which the longer edge becomes 20 mm long in the front view. Now this shorter edge AB is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. Okay, so 40 degrees, how you would like to take? Maybe like this or like this. Which would be more convenient to draw? Can draw like this and take this as 40 degrees. 40 degrees to HP. On this 40 degree, you have to place this shorter edge AB. So you'll have to place it like this. You have to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. So like this you rotate and bring. So this would be B. This would be A. and this could be, not sure, could be inclined like this. This could be C and this could be D. Difficult to draw the third step here because of this angle. This phi angle, I cannot represent it well in this 2D environment. If it is a 3D environment, I can show, but in 2D it is very difficult. Okay. So this is how it is going to look like. The bottom line is AB, the edge, the shorter edge on which it is resting in VP is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. Okay. Now this this 40 degrees is a theta value because the shorter edge is inclined at 40 degrees. Now only thing you have to understand is whether the shorter edge reduces in length in the second step front view. It was 20 mm. Is it still 20 mm? Yes, it is 20. So can you keep a true length on a true inclination? You can. So this is not a locus problem. So here also the locus issue would come. So anyway, this is a one-off problem. So I think we'll draw the 2D view, then the third step would be clear. I hope the first and second are clear. Okay. So in the third step, we'll draw it in 2D, then I think it would be more clear. So yeah. So first step, you have to draw the rectangle, the front view, 20 by 35. So you can draw it like this. Leave some gap. So the 20 mm line and the 35 mm line perpendicular to it, and of course parallel to XY line. So this would be A dash, this would be B dash, this would be C dash, and this would be D dash. Okay. This is your first step front view. In the top view, this would be A into bracket B and D into bracket C. If you join them, you will get a line in the top view. The length of the top view would be equal to the length of the longer edge, 35. So this is same as what you had seen here in 3D. 20 by 35, top view is 35. And the top view is on XY line. Second step, that you incline. Of course, you don't know the angle. So what you know is in the front view, you are supposed to get a square, this square of 20 by 20. So we'll draw the square first and then try to find out this angle. So what you do is, you have to project this front view, the two parallel horizontal projectors, and in between that you have to locate, or you have to draw a 20 by 20 square some distance away. So this can be A dash, this can be B dash, 20 mm, and this could be another 20 mm. This is 20, and if you join the two, so all four lines would be 20 mm long. So thereby giving you 20 by 20 square in the front view. So you have to draw at the same level as can be seen here. The level is same. So you have to make use of these two projectors, and then in between them you have to locate and draw the square of 20 by 20. All these are dashes. Forgot. Okay. Now you have to project them back and then try to find out the angle. So how you have to do? First you project this A and B till XY line, and this C and D beyond XY line. Now we know that, as you have seen here, AB, the top view, will be on XY line. So you have AB here, A into bracket B, because the edge AB is on VP, so its top view, small a into bracket small b, will be on XY line. Now what you do is you have to measure the length of this front view. So it is 35 mm. So this length you have to measure. And then with AB as the center, radius equal to 35 mm, cut this vertical projection length. So this point would be D into bracket C. So if you join the two, you will get a 35 mm line inclined at some particular angle. Now this angle is your phi angle. And if you measure it, I think you should get it around 55 degrees. You can check. Yeah, it's coming to around 55. Yes. Okay. Last step.
Yes, sir.
Last step, you have to ensure that the edge which is on VP, that is AB, is inclined at at 40 degrees to HP. So now you can draw the 40-degree line like this. So you have to mark a point first. So let us say you mark a point here on the XY line. Make a 40-degree line as we have done in the 3D view. So like this, maybe here. So draw this 40-degree line. And on this 40-degree line, you have to place A dash, B dash. So this whole square is going to be rotated in which direction? Anti-clockwise or counter-clockwise direction. So you are going to get it like this. Okay. So A dash, B dash would be here. So roughly you will get the shape like this. So this is A dash, this is B dash, this is C dash, this is D dash. Okay. So we start from B dash. So first locate B dash. And then 20 mm away, you locate A dash. So A dash, B dash or AB would be on this 40 degree or 40 degree line. Yeah, 20 mm. Now you can draw perpendicular lines to A dash and B dash and measure 20 mm, complete the square, or you can use the rounder and then find out C dash and D dash. Anything is fine, no problem. So if you draw, you can use a set square also for this to get better results. So 20 mm, 20, 20, 4 edges each of 20 mm. Even this is 20. So you have 20 by 20. So A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash. So you have ensured that the edge AB or A dash, B dash in the front view is inclined at 40 degrees to HP. So this is your final front view. So this is another difference. See, you are getting the final front view here. Normally, in any of the other problems, you had got the final top view and then you used to get the final front view in the last step. Now here you have already got the final front view. Now you have to locate and draw the final top view. Final top view becomes the last step. So these are the changes, the fundamental changes when you rest a plane lamina on VP. Okay. Now 4 vertical projectors from the third step front view and 2 horizontal projectors from the second step top view. You can draw that. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 vertical projectors and 2 horizontal. Out of that, the projector of A and B is on XY line, so no need to draw it again. The projector of C and D has to be drawn. Locate the 4 intersection points A dash and A. So this would be A dash on XY line. B dash and B. This would be B dash. C dash and C. This would be C dash, and D dash and D. This would be D dash. Join them. So you will get a parallelogram kind of a shape. It won't be a rectangle or a square. It would be a very odd shape. This would be your final top. So exactly the reverse of whatever you have been doing till now. You have to start with the front view. Draw the rectangle. Then in the top you will get the true length, that is the length of the longer edge. And then when you incline to VP by some angle, then in the front view you are going to see a square. So you have to find out the inclination. And then the edge on which it is resting AB is in VP. That edge you have to incline to HP by the given angle. So this is a case where the lamina is resting on VP. Okay. So I guess that's it. So this brings us to the end of this topic on planes. So now, I think next class onwards, that is from Monday, we can start with solids. So how many problems have I given for assignment in this? I think 3, 4 I have given.
Sir, 3.
3. Okay, maybe another 2 or 3 I'll give. I'll post it in the Google Meet and in the Google Classroom. And then you can solve all those 5 or 6 problems and then post it as an assignment. Okay, I'll put up the assignment there and put the remaining 2 or 3 problems. You can solve it and finish off with planes. So next week onwards, we will start with solids. So maybe we have 2 or 3 classes. So in that, some basic solids we'll take up and see. The same concept remains. There will be same 3 steps. Only thing is, instead of planes, we are going to deal with solids. We will start with the basic solid, that is a pyramid, a square pyramid. Okay, and then we'll go for maybe square prism or other pentagonal, hexagonal pyramids. Okay, the concept remains the same, more or less. Only thing, the entity changes. So, if you have any doubts, you can ask, or else you can put your attendance and you can leave.